question the attractiveness of their own currencies, and so we're buying gold for that reason. So you get into this, gold is very much a geopolitical metal, because when you think of it in those terms, if you're China and you're buying lots and lots of gold, as China has done at times over the last 15 years after the great financial crisis, let's be clear, that can be construed in certain circles in Washington and in Brussels and in London as a tax on those nations' currencies. And so it is in the interest of nations that might
make sure that they're not gold-plated titanium, and make sure they're all there, and then figure out who owns them. Like, why is that so hard? We're told, oh, that's too complicated. Really?
No, I don't think it's anything to do, to your point. It's not complicated at all. I think it comes down to policy, and that gold is a geopolitical metal. And if you go back to, again, declassified documents and of conversations and memos of interest, this is not what we want. We want the Saudis not getting gold. We want them getting treasury bonds. And so, right, the famous Bill Simon deal. And so I think
I can't believe they took that deal.
I think it might have been a gold or the lead type of deal at that point in time. We'll give you not only, you take the gold, you take the lead, and the gold is, we'll provide you protection, we'll provide you weapons, we'll let you access to our markets, and if you don't do it, we're going to regime change you, and oh, by the way, we'll give you maybe a sweetener on your knee.
Is an anchor in reality.
Joe Biden may be gone, but that doesn't mean you got your privacy back. The big tech giants are still spying on you, invading your privacy, recording everything that you do online, and selling your digital profiles to the highest bidder. It's infuriating. But people are getting paid. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. You need to get away from it as fast as you can, and that's where ExpressVPN comes in. ExpressVPN is an app that sends 100% of your online traffic.
In the world, a very famous investor, wonderful guy. And somebody said, he buys gold. And I said to him, off camera, do you buy gold? And he's like, yeah, among other things. Sure. I said, do you buy a lot of gold? Yeah, buy a lot of gold. But he kind of just didn't want it. It's even in some sense, like almost unpatriotic to say, I'm all about gold and land or whatever, about physical assets, because what you're saying is I don't believe in the system of the U.S. government.
Well, which is horribly ironic, because if you go back to 1948, Warren Buffett, famous investor, poo-poos gold every chance he has, and his father, Congressman Warren Buffett, from the state of Nebraska, wrote a missive. You can still find it online.
You're not allowed. It's like the Oprah.
It's the all shucks. Yeah, it's the all shucks. Yeah,
but you're not allowed. But no one has been promoted more aggressively by the American media than Warren Buffett.
I think that's fair, and it's interesting because
but he's a hard asset guy.
He's absolutely a hard asset.
He literally bought Porsche.
And as you just said, the degree to which you're vested in the system of in place affects your outlook and affects very much what you're willing to say in public.
And the bigger you are within that, the more pressure can be applied to you, right? If you don't get deal flow on Sunday nights, if you avoid that has gazillions of dollars of gold on it, and we develop the ability to go up there and bring it back cheaply in a way that competes with
it. So gold is almost hovering at about 3,000, a little under 3,000 an ounce. It's clearly going to make it 3,000, I would guess. Is there a threshold at which, it becomes, because there's a lot of gold actually,
below $70 starts to be a problem for our shale industry, and so if you look at the price of West Texas crude, WTI crude oil over the last 2-3 years. That gets into how you would have to you probably have to restructure some debt. Some of that is gold, right? Because the Saudis at $10 a barrel. But again, that then gets into gold, right? Where we go, okay, well, as part of some grand deal. Now this is far afield. Rapid change when you have high levels of debt. It's the debt that creates the problem. And so when you look around and you see these central banks buying all this gold and having all these countries buying this gold, if you revalue gold enough to basically recollateralize or effectively buy down your debt so that you have low debt levels, then you can make more dramatic, than if you put a 25% tariff on the UK across all items, just to pick a number. You run the risk, the mechanical impact of that would be to increase the price of gold 25%, and settle those markets down was to, say, change the rules for the layman. They introduced a gold futures contract that made the good delivery denomination, I think 400 ounces in London, 100 ounces in New York, creates a bank deposit basically at the Treasury's bank account at the Fed that the Trump administration could then use to buy down debt, to not have to borrow as much. It's effectively legalizes is a complicated multi-body, right? It is goodwill, protection, access to markets, the threat of violence, military protection. Gold is way down there. I don't think the gold is thought of as collateral, but it could be as a reserve at China. And so, starting with COVID,
Could it be that we were using Chinese components to arm the Ukrainians in a war against Russia, which is led to China?
and that's fine. That has been how the world has worked for 50 years. And it's been great for Wall Street, it's been great for Washington, it's been great for China. It's not been great for the American middle and working class, whose factory is most closely tied to the money printer, to the dollar. Washington, Wall Street. And his point is it is becoming this resource curse of being the Saudi Arabia of money is increasingly not. It is that these flows of gold into the U.S. are effectively front-running what will likely be a higher price of gold, driven there by the recycling of global trade. More
To use a phone. Most people don't use that much in services, but they pay it anyway. Our cell phone company, Pure Talk, says no to those prices. With a qualified plan, you can choose an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for nothing, zero. Get premium service on America's most
in terms of the monetary system and those flows, the markets will start to work and they'll start to feed on themselves. And then we can get into things. Okay, wow, we've got enough we've got enough demand. Now we need to build the power plants. Once we build the power plants, then we can build more. Our infrastructure looks like we lost a war. It's been hollowed out. It's been dilapidated, and so there's decades. Rubens and the Larry Summers and a lot of these guys you're seeing lament against all the tariffs and all this stuff. They're absolutely fighting. I don't know that it is terrible for their interests if